we're welcoming back in civil and criminal defense attorney Mark Reichel. Mark, thanks so much for staying with us. And let's start with this point blank. Would Trump testifying be a good idea?
No, I don't think so. But I think it's almost something he has to do, but it would just make it worse. Right now, they have something to argue about. I think if he takes the stand, oh my gosh, yeah, his credibility can be attacked, not just for this, but basically, is he a truth teller? They would then spend days to try to prove every time that he's lied. And so I think there's no way he ever takes the stand.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Michael Cohen has been on the witness stand for days. What have we learned so far, and what still needs to be sorted out?
He's without a doubt the weakest link in the prosecution's case. We'll see. I mean, Trump's team has had a weekend, to finish him off. I think they'll probably go, honestly, I think they'll go after his credibility some more, but it's not enough for the Trump team, to be honest with you. I think they've proven the case. They had a lot to do, but I think they've done it. They've got enough evidence to prove that I think there were false entries made. The reason the false entries were made was not to protect his family. I think they showed that. It was part of catch and kill was not to protect his family. Catch and kill was to get him elected to be president of the United States.
Okay, so you're fairly confident in the outcome of this already?
You'd have to be crazy to go on NewsNation and predict the outcome of a trial like this. But I'm not crazy. But I think they're going to get him. I think that the former president's going to be convicted. I think they did enough, and it's a tough one, believe me. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not convicted, but I think they've met their burden. And unless they have some special trick coming this week, I don't think the defense can convince this jury that the reason they made those statements on the checks and called them legal expenses was so that his family wouldn't be ashamed to find out. I don't think the jury's going to believe that.
Understood. We have seen so many lawmakers speaking outside of the courthouse in support of Trump. It kind of feels like a campaign stop sometimes. And they're saying things that would otherwise be against the gag order if it came out of Trump's mouth. Is this fair game? Have you seen something like this before? And can the judge step in?
Well, first of all, let's say with the Donald Trump presidency and when he's a candidate, we've never seen anything like it before. Okay, so in the criminal justice system, I could see a judge hauling these people in to say, hey, you're saying something that he's not allowed to say, and I think there's some link between him and you. But the prosecution hasn't brought that evidence to the judge. I think they all don't care enough. They want to focus on trying to get him convicted. The judge just on his own can't reach out and say, I see them saying things. I think that violates the order. I think there's a tie to former President Trump. The judge can't do that. He's not an evidence maker. The prosecution has to bring that in. And I just think they don't want to get derailed by that. And they want to keep their focus on the evidence in the case and trying to get this conviction.
Understood. Mark Reichel, appreciate it as always. Thank you.
Thank you, Natasha.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.